Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Bree. Hi if you're new here, or hey if you've been here before. So today I am doing what I definitely know is my very first TBR video. And if you are relatively new to BookTube, TBR is to be read. Typically a lot of people will do these videos to kind of say these are the books I'm anticipating to read for the following month. Now, if you watched probably in my BookTube introduction, like my BookTube newbie tag, I'm pretty sure, like I said, I probably won't be doing many of these, if any at all. And that's because I'm a huge mood reader, and for the most part, when I've tried to stick to TBRs in the past, especially like back in the day when I first started my Bookstagram, I really struggled with it. There would be a couple months where I would actually like get through those books, and then there would be times where I would struggle. And this past month in March, I will say, and it was a secret TBR, so be on the lookout for my wrap-up coming up soon, but my secret TBR actually worked so well, and I got through so many more books than I anticipated, and I also got through books that I think I would have kept putting off much farther down the road. So I decided, you know what, let's try it again, and let's do another TBR video, or another TBR anyway. And let's try another TBR month. So last month I did a secret TBR, and I included that TBR, the vlog, and the wrap up all in one. Be on the lookout for that, as I said. This month I'm going to do a TBR and a normal wrap up because I am going to be participating in Camp NaNoWriMo for the month of April, and I'm going to try to be more focused on my writing and editing specifically next month. So I want to kind of keep like a loose TBR. But there are a few books that I would like to get to next month, and I figured, you know what, let's make it a theme. So for April, my reading TBR theme is reading books by authors that I have met in person, got the book signed, and just never read. Very specific, I know. But there are very specific books that I've kept on my TBR long after I anticipated reading them, and, you know, I just figured it's time. It's time. So let's jump into what books I'm going to read for this month. All right, so first up on this list is We Set the Dark on Fire by Taylor K. Mejia. So I met this author last March, actually. It was almost a year ago. I do know on my time hop, it just came up that I met these authors, well, a couple of authors, and Taylor was one of them. This is her debut, and it's in a fantasy world, kind of, I think, like a fantasy dystopian a little bit. And you are following this girl who kind of infiltrates this government and pretends to be someone that she's not. And then she's supposed to end up, I think, falling in love, or like supposed to marry the prince or something. And she ends up falling in love with someone else instead, and they're trying to escape. So that's really all I know. I've heard mixed reviews, but the people that I know and talk to have liked it with a few like minor complaints. So I'm going to be buddy reading this with another friend of mine, and this is the first on that list that she wanted to read. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do it because, you know what, as I mentioned, this is one of my signed books, and this is kind of why I started with this one. And I really love it because when this author in particular, when I met them, we asked a lot of questions about querying and breaking into the lifestyle of being a writer, because at that point we were just about to query, me and my co-author, and she had wrote in here, good luck with the querying, can't wait to see it on the shelves someday soon. So she was such a sweetheart. I wish to be friends with her in real life. So if Taylor is ever watching this video, I remember this day. Please be friends with me. But otherwise, like I said, that is part of the reason, because she was so kind and just so awesome to meet in person, and I never did her justice by reading her book after it came out, that this is the time to do it. So that's number one on my TBR. The second book on my TBR this month is another author that I met at the same exact event, and that is Heroine by Mindy McGinnis. So Mindy McGinnis is not the first time I'm reading a book by her. She is one of my favorite authors, and I always forget that she's one of my favorite authors, but I try to pick up almost everything she writes. So far I've read A Madness So Discreet, The Female of the Species, and Given to the Sea. So there are still a few out there that I have not gotten to, and I know she has another one coming out very soon, so I am probably going to pick them up. But she kind of writes these weird, darker contemporaries. There's murder, or it's kind of like this weird and unusual, like strange and unusual vibes to it. So this book in particular is, I believe it's about a softball player who ends up getting injured and kind of ends up getting addicted to drugs. So things that I like, that I probably will like this book. I was a softball player. I love softball to this day. If anyone ever gives me chances to play, I jump on it, because one of my biggest regrets in life is that I did not play softball as much as I should have. And instead I let what I thought needed to happen dictate my life more than just me doing the things that I wanted to do and love. So tangent aside, I would love to see a softball novel, because I have never read anything that involves softball. I mean, football, sure, maybe mentions of baseball. It's typically all the men who are in sports and not the ladies. So I'm really excited if I have a female lead with a softball player. Second, I actually like, which is really strange. It should be maybe a trigger, but it's not. But like, I'm really like absorbed with drug literature and just like how people's lives play out, whether it's fiction or real life. So the fact that there is kind of like a drug addiction component to this also kind of seems like something I will end up enjoying, I guess enjoying loosely, because I probably don't enjoy it necessarily, but you know what I mean? Like I think it would be a good piece of literature. I've read a lot of other stories with like drug use or like the drug scene, and it just always like draws me into it. It's just very raw and usually emotional. So again, I met her, she signed this, I got a bookmark out of it, and then it sat on my shelves, and I, continue to wonder why I have not done this, but I think it's time. And like I said, I do know she has another book coming out, so if I can get through some of her backlists, then I can pick that one up. The third book on my TBR is The Last Policeman by Ben Winters. Or Ben H. Winters, I think is actually what it is. So this one I've mentioned in past videos on my channel, and it's because I met this author back in like 2011. And this book was it just come out or something. He came to my college for a visiting author series that my college did, read some of his past works, and read from this book. And I was like, this sounds so cool. Essentially, it's like a dystopian, almost apocalyptic, where the world's about to end, and this police officer is like kind of the only one that thinks he knows how to save the world. So I think it combines like almost apocalyptic and kind of like true crime detective kind of styles. And it sounds kind of strange, and that's like right up my alley. So this guy, he was another one where I just like, he just sold it to me. The problem with me is if I meet an author in person, there's almost no way that I can't buy your book and support you in every endeavor that you do afterwards, because there's just something about authors that like most of them are just so nice and cool and chill, and I just want to support every single one of them. So this is like a no-brainer, literally. If you are an author and you talk to me and then you have a book out, I guarantee you I'm going to buy your book, because I have no control when it comes over that. But anyway, so this has been sitting on my shelves mostly because when I got this book, I really did buy it to support him. But he was so nice and just chill. I'm pretty sure he's from California, so like he traveled a decent way. But as you see, he signed it. And the reason I put it off so long is just because I wasn't sure if I would enjoy it, and it was kind of like it was an adult book and maybe weird sci-fi. So I'm kind of in a place in my life, especially after one of the books I just read for my March TBR list. I think this is going to be up my alley now. So we're going to give that a shot. And yeah, this is my third book. For the fourth possibility, and this is the part, like the last two books on this list are definitely going to be if I have time and if I'm enjoying everything, because like I said, I do want to dedicate most of my time to writing and doing my vlogs next month. But if I can, the fourth book in this list is going to be Noir, a Crimson Shadow novel by Nathan Squires. So once again, guys, I met an independent author at Otakon in 2018, and me and my friends are very much the same person when it comes to this, where when we like you as a person, we will pretty much buy anything you give us. And Nathan and his girlfriend, who is also a writer and writes books in, like, they kind of write different stories but set in the same world, and I thought that was cool. They kind of talked about this. I do think it's paranormal romance, and I know we talked for a while, and I don't remember like the full like what this book was about, but I mean, it just sounded like, okay, yeah, we'll do it, because, you know, you guys just sound so nice. So I was really trying to save money personally. So they had their entire series, both of them, that they were selling. I bought the first book from him and his girlfriend. And they kind of said that, you know, like, in her books, there's a brief mention of what happens in book 1, but it's nothing that, like, you wouldn't be able to pick up or understand. So that's why I'm going to start with this book, because it's bigger of the two, and if I do end up liking this, then I can just pick up her book. Her book, Megan J. Parker, is called Scarlet Night, and it's much smaller than this one. This is about 300 pages. I'm going to guess this is about 200. So, like I said, if I end up getting to this and I like it, and then I want to continue with this one, then I can. But again, they were both so nice. They really, like, just, like, we had literally, like, a 2-hour conversation with them. And that's why I'm like, I just can't, like, walk away without buying your book. So, maybe it'll be the time before I finally read this series, or start it, because there are other books. All right, and the last possibility, which is the only kind of, like, bending the rules of this TBR list, because I did not actually meet this author in person, but I won the book directly from her and briefly communicated with her on Instagram, and I feel like that's very much the same almost. On some level in my brain, they kind of equal out. But that's going to be Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. Like I said, I won this on Instagram very recently, but her third and final novel of this series is coming out this year. So again, maybe if I do enjoy the first two, I can then pre-order or just buy the third book and support her. I ended up getting her first debut novel, Daughter of the Burning City, from a Fairy Loot, I think back in like 2017. And while it wasn't necessarily my favorite book that I've ever read, I loved the fact that there was asexual representation, as Amanda Foody identifies as asexual, and that's not something I see too often. And as someone who is that as well, it's kind of nice to see that rep. So I'm kind of excited to see if there is going to be more of that in this book and how it plays out. And I do think, like I said, based on how I thought maybe her first novel, which was super interesting, could have had like more potential, I'm hoping that it delivers with this series. So that's why, you know, again, I'm not necessarily saying that I will definitely get to it this month, but this March, when I'm filming this video currently, March is going so well for me reading wise. So I'm just hoping that I will continue into the month of April, and I'm just going to knock it out of the park with reading and writing. Probably also because I'm kind of homebound given the state of the world, and I don't have other things that I want to do. So yeah, there we go. So I have a nice little pile of 6 books here that I am hoping beyond hope to get to. And yeah, I think this is going to be a fun list. I think it's a good diverse group of books between like contemporaries and dystopian and pre-apocalyptic and fantasies and paranormal, urban fantasy, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be a good time, I think, guys. So let me know down below, what are you planning to read in the month of April? Do you do TBRs of your own for every month? And if so, what are those books that you plan on reading? Or is there any inclination, like if you're a mood reader like I normally am, is there something that you're leaning towards starting in the month of April? Let me know down below. And until next time, I'll see you then. Bye.